Greetings, adventurers! Welcome back to RPG PhD. I'm your host, Dr. Ben, and today we're diving into the art of storytelling in tabletop RPGs, inspired by the ancient technique of in medias res, or beginning in the midst of things. Let's unravel how this can transform your RPG campaigns into epic tales. In medias res is about jumping right into a pivotal high-stakes moment. Imagine opening your campaign not with background exposition, but in the heart of a climactic battle, or with characters facing a dire moral dilemma. This immediate action captivates players, thrusting them into the narrative whirlwind from the get-go. Let's explore more examples of how you can start your RPG campaigns with in medias res. Remember, the key is to drop your players directly into an action-packed or emotionally charged scenario. Imagine starting your session with the party being ambushed by a group of bandits. No prior setup, just straight into the fray. As the battle unfolds, clues hint at the bandits' true employer, leading to a larger conspiracy. This scenario immediately puts players in a reactive and curious mindset. Or considering opening in a royal court where the characters are unexpectedly accused of a crime they didn't commit. The King's Guard surrounds them and they must either talk their way out, fight, or find an escape. It's a thrilling start that begs the question, who framed them and why? Another idea could be to start amidst a natural disaster. Perhaps the characters are in a city when an earthquake strikes and they must navigate the chaos. Amidst the rubble, they find a strange artifact, kicking off the main plot. Or how about beginning in the middle of a heist? The characters are stealing a valuable object from a heavily guarded mansion. It's only after they escape that they realize the item's true power and the danger it brings. You could also start with the characters witnessing a dark ritual in a forest. They intervene, but not before a mysterious entity is summoned, setting off a chain of events that they must now resolve. Each of these examples throws players directly into the action or a pressing dilemma. They create immediate engagement and set the stage for revealing the backstory organically as the campaign progresses. By starting your story in the midst of things, you create an exciting and dynamic narrative that players will be eager to unravel. After this explosive start, you'll need to artfully reveal the backstory. This can be achieved through character dialogues, flashbacks, or even found documents within the game. Perhaps an ancient tome or a seasoned NPC unravels the events leading to the current crisis. The key is to avoid clumsy info dumping and to make the revelations feel natural and part of the adventure. One effective way to reveal backstory is through dialogue. Let's say your campaign started with the ambush example. As the dust settles, a captured bandit might reveal under questioning that they were hired by a mysterious cult. This revelation can lead players to new locations and plot threads. Flashbacks are another powerful tool. For the royal court scenario, after the accusation, a flashback scene could show one of the characters receiving a sealed letter, the contents of which implied their involvement in the crime. This can lead to discussions among players about connections and potential motives. For the natural disaster opening, players could later discover a diary in the wreckage. Reading it, they learn about the artifact they found and its history, which ties into the larger plot of ancient powers awakening. NPCs are invaluable in backstory revelation. In the heist scenario, perhaps a knowledgeable contact explains the item's significance in a fantasy world's political landscape, setting up the next phase of the campaign. Lastly, use your setting for environmental storytelling. In the dark ritual opening, symbols at the site or the state of the surroundings could give clues about the ritual's purpose and the entity summoned, hinting at a larger, darker plot at play. Each of these methods allows you to gradually unveil the backstory in a way that feels organic and intriguing. It keeps players engaged as they're not just passive listeners, but active participants piecing together the story. By revealing the backstory over time, you maintain the mystery and excitement that in medias res initiates. Remember, the key to a successful in medias res opening is not just the thrilling start, but how you unravel the story threads from there. Keep your players guessing, keep them curious, and most importantly, keep them invested in the story you're all creating. Ensure your starting point is crucial to the overall plot. If you begin under a City siege make the siege's outcome vital to your campaign's central conflict. This creates a sense of urgency and importance right from the start. So you've thrown your players into the thick of it with an in medias res opening. This isn't just any scene, it's the linchpin that holds your narrative together. In the ambush scenario, let's say one of the bandits carries a sigil identifying them as a member of a notorious mercenary group. This group could be central to your main conflict, perhaps being manipulated by a larger unseen force which the players will uncover. For the royal court accusation, perhaps the crime the characters are accused of has political implications. Maybe it's tied to a power struggle within the kingdom, and the characters are pawns in a larger Game of Thrones. This plot point then drives the campaign's political intrigue. In the natural disaster opening, suppose the earthquake that struck the city wasn't natural at all, but caused by a cult trying to awaken an ancient deity. The artifact the players found is a key to stopping this, making their discovery pivotal. For the heist scenario, imagine if the item stolen was not just valuable in the monetary sense, but also a powerful magical relic that could shift the balance of power in the realm. The heist suddenly becomes much more than a simple theft. And in the case of the dark ritual, maybe the entity summoned is part of a prophecy that foretells a great calamity. The player's involvement then becomes critical in preventing this impending doom. These are not just opening scenes, they're the gateway to the rest of your campaign. They set in motion a series of events that are integral to the story you and your players are unfolding. Your opening scene should feel like the first piece of a fascinating puzzle. Each subsequent session allows you and your players to put more pieces together, revealing the bigger picture. So make sure your in medias res start isn't just exciting, but also deeply tied to the heart of your campaign's narrative. It's this connection that will keep your players invested and eager to see what comes next. A good in medias res opening is like a mystery box filled with questions that beg to be answered. It should make your players ask, how did we get here and what happens next? This intrigue keeps players hooked, eagerly piecing together the puzzle of your campaign's history and motives. With your campaign beginning in the thick of action, let's delve into how we craft intrigue and how we make players want to know how events were built to this point. Your opening scene's job isn't just to start the story, but to make your players yearn to uncover the how and why behind it all. Let's revisit our ambush scenario. After the battle, players find a mysterious note on one of the bandits, hinting at a benefactor with unknown motives. This breadcrumb trail of intrigue leads players to ask, who is behind this and what do they want? In our royal court scene, perhaps there's a secretive faction within the court that's framing the characters. Clues point to a deeper conspiracy involving the throne itself. Players then become entangled in a web of court intrigue, seeking to clear their names and uncover the truth. For the natural disaster opening, imagine if the players discover that the earthquake was artificially triggered. The question becomes, who has the power and technology to cause such destruction and why? This leads them on a quest to find the culprits and prevent further calamities. In the heist, the stolen item could be part of an ancient prophecy now set into motion by its theft. The players must piece together the prophecy's meaning and implications, realizing that their actions have greater consequences than they imagined. With the dark ritual, perhaps the entity summoning begins affecting the world in strange ways. Unnatural phenomena start occurring, and the players need to find out how to reverse the ritual before the effects become irreversible. Your in medias res opening should be like a puzzle with missing pieces. Players should feel driven to explore, question, and connect the dots. This creates a game where discovery and revelation are as rewarding as any combat victory or completed quest. Remember, the key to a successful campaign is not just in the battles fought or treasures found, but in the mysteries unraveled and the stories told. Keep your players intrigued, keep them questioning, and you'll keep them wholly engaged in the world you've created together. Be cautious of over-explaining. Let your players immerse themselves in the mystery. When your story begins in the middle of the action, it's tempting to overload players with information to quickly fill in the backstory. However, the art lies in revealing this information organically and engagingly. Dialogue is a fantastic tool for backstory revelation, but it must feel natural. Let's say in your ambush scenario, the players interrogate a captured bandit. Instead of the bandit launching into a long monologue, they could drop hints and reluctantly reveal information under pressure, which feels more realistic and engaging. In the royal court plot, instead of an exposition-heavy dialogue, players could discover letters, overhear conversations, or observe unusual behavior at court. This way, they piece together the backstory through their own investigations, making the discovery process more interactive and rewarding. For the natural disaster scenario, players could gradually learn about the earthquake's origins through conversations with various NPCs they meet along their journey. Each NPC adds a piece to the puzzle, building up the backstory over time rather than dumping it all at once. In the heist scenario, use flashbacks strategically. Perhaps a player's action triggers a brief flashback that reveals a snippet of the planning phase of the heist. These flashbacks can be scattered throughout the campaign, revealing the full story piece by piece. Show, don't tell is your mantra. In the ritual scene, instead of explaining the ritual's purpose outright, let players find symbols, read old texts, or witness the effects of the ritual in the world around them. This way, they infer the backstory rather than being spoon-fed it. Your goal is to weave the backstory into the fabric of your campaign, letting it unfold naturally. This keeps players intrigued and engaged, turning your campaign into a detective story where they're piecing together the mystery. Remember, in RPGs, the journey of discovery is just as important as the destination. Finally, your opening line should be as intriguing as the scene itself. It sets the tone for what's to come. Something like, as you regain consciousness, the sound of clashing swords fills the air. Immediately, this draws players into the action. The opening line is your first and best chance to grab your players' attention and set the tone for your adventure. It should be compelling, vivid, and loaded with potential. For our ambush scenario, an impactful first line could be, as arrows whiz past your ears, you're abruptly yanked from the calm of the road into a maelstrom of steel and fury. This immediately immerses players in the scene and sets up the urgency of the situation. In the royal court plot, you might start with the king's voice booms across the silent hall, declaring your treason as dozens of eyes turn towards you in shock. This line not only throws players into a tense situation, but also creates a sense of betrayal and confusion. For our natural disaster, a compelling start could be, the ground trembles violently beneath your feet, toppling buildings like children's blocks, as screams echo through the city. It captures the chaos and immediate danger of the situation, demanding instant reaction from the players. In the heist scenario, try something like, as the last jewel clicks into place, the room fills with an ominous hum, and you realize too late that you've triggered more than just a lock. This line hints at unexpected complications and raises questions about what comes next. And for the opening ritual, consider, amidst the forest eerie silence, the sudden chant of an ancient tongue sends chills down your spine as shadows dance around the flickering firelight. It sets a mysterious and ominous tone, piquing curiosity about the ritual. Your opening line is a hook that should reel your players into the world you've created. It's the first taste of the narrative feast you're about to serve. Craft it with care, and it will set the stage for a memorable and engaging RPG session. And there you have it, the ancient art of in medias res and reinvented for your tabletop RPG campaigns. Embrace this technique to create a story that's immediate, compelling, and rich in hidden depths. How do you use in medias res in your campaigns? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for joining me today on RPG PhD. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more storytelling insights and tips. Until next time, may your adventures be epic and your stories always engaging.